What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You are listening to Ninja Knight. This is Chatterbox number 7. I have to say, I've been really enjoying this, and as I've said before as well, when you've got this show picking up more and more viewers each week, which is very much so appreciated, and indeed the viewership overall keeps going up and up and up. I very much so appreciate that, and I'm totally and utterly humbled constantly and consistently about that. Big shout out as well too to Satirical Soldier. I know he always shares out the stream, so very big, much so a shout out to him. Philip Dwyer as well too. I know as well puts out the streams, and then everybody that's in the chat there, they can see it already. Got Derek McManus, Blue Graham 1. A big shout out, by the way, to everybody that is a moderator for me here. It's very much so appreciated. I know that the mods here last week had a good laugh, had some good fun. A lot of people reached out to me after the fact and said that was a great show, but they also enjoyed the fun that they had in the chat. And the chat is very important because this is, again, can't be done without the chat, and it can't be done without the moderator. So I much so appreciate that. As I've said before, these people that are doing moderation, they're brilliant because these are people that are happy to let things go, which is something that I always love about situations that arise. And it makes the other side look completely and utterly silly when they engage in silly behavior. And I think that that is a good thing. And the moderators, in fairness, didn't leave them on and let people laugh at them, which is highly, highly important because these people aren't laughed at enough in life. So to me, when you get this and you get the videos down, for example, like Phil Dwyer's putting up during the week there of Galway, I think that was fantastic to see. And it's great to see so many people coming together. I know that that's something that's really freaking out the likes of the NGOs and indeed the people that are in government. Again, another week passes and nobody, no TDs out there singing from the rooftops about what's going on with Enoch Burke. Over 30 days in prison because he ultimately won't use a pronoun that is incorrect. Whatever way you want to flip it, again, if you want to go by laws, courts, rules, how come you guys that are out there that are telling us you're taking your fourth, your fifth, your sixth, your seventh, one of these Voldemort followings, how come you're not upset about the likes of the Geneva Convention or the Nuremberg Code? It would almost seem like you're hypocrites, wouldn't it? It almost seem like you like to pick and choose your arguments. Whereas I've noticed everybody on this side of the fence is completely and utterly consistent with what they say every time. So you were seeing it escalate now in front of our very eyes, and I think it's great to see insofar as people making a name for themselves. And I also would hope that it's going to lead to the formation of a party. They are terrified in the media to report about what's going on in Italy. So much so that they were like, Silvio Berlusconi said that maybe what's happening in the blue and yellow country, maybe they should just give up. Yeah, that seems rational and logical to do that. That's what Elon Musk has also been saying. And you like to call him, he was on the right. That's what you like to say about these people. These more so liberal people. You're like, oh no, they're on the right. And that's what's happening now. More of these people are crossing over and saying, hang on here, I just agree with one or two things here in particular. And then they are getting their eyes opened. I mean, look at Kanye West. Look at what's going on with him. He's someone that has come out and has spoken to Tucker Carlson, a brilliant interview, and I would absolutely implore you to watch it because he gives you a wider view of what's going on here in the world. And indeed, he knows because he's in the music industry. There was a number of clowns that are out there that are like, what, Kanye now? I'm sure he knows the ins and outs of who's involved, when they're involved, how they're involved. And he was talking about it. He was like, Hillary there has a direct line to Kim. They were on first name basis. They were on cellular phone basis, as he would say, mobile phones would say here in Ireland. And everyone's just looking at it and going, that's weird. And the same with even as I'd be talking about now in the last couple of days, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This is another fella that would have appeared to be all out American. And then last year decided, nah, I'm going to flip the script here and I'm going to go with the bad guys. So this is something that's happening in front of everyone's eyes. And what you were seeing is a titanic battle between good and evil, and good is currently wiping the floor with these people. Now, anytime when you look at that and say to people, hey, good is winning, they're saying, but what do you mean? Listen, the propaganda and stuff like that wouldn't be necessary if they were winning. They wouldn't need to keep pushing it out. They wouldn't need to now revert to try and scare you with the flu again. And more people that I'm talking to in the last few weeks now that fully bought into everything that went on over the last couple of years, when I said to them, what do you think about putting the mask back on? What do you think about restrictions being reintroduced? And all of them vehemently opposed to it, saying, well, hang on, I took 4 of these things. Yeah, you did. I told you not to, because you're in the same boat as I am now, which is if these people are deciding to do what they want to do, are you going to be giving out about it or are you not? Very important to know that. Highlight of the week, I have to say, there's been a couple of them. We'll show them here in the stream. The biggest one as well, too, obviously, was the company beginning with P, basically admitting, by the way, guys, we didn't test it that much before we let it out. Now, that is going to sound shockwaves around the place. And the video that I'm going to show here tonight as well is something that you should share on with as many people as possible, because people aren't being informed about this. And this is the opportunity that you have, because if you know somebody that's out there that doesn't quite understand what's going on, or they're sort of half in and half out, send them this information. And what they will do is they will understand very quickly, like I was and like you were, eyes being opened there in front of them. And it only takes maybe one or two stories for you to go, hang on here, that doesn't make sense whatsoever. And again, you're just seeing it now across history. Like I said before, you're looking at laws being made about people denying what went on in early 1930s, 1940s Germany. Why would you need that? There's no sort of laws that are denying or having penalisation, I suppose, of people that are denying that the famine happened here in Ireland. But there's laws around one specific incident. Nothing else, though. Laws around one specific incident. That's kind of interesting. And in the week that Kanye West has been coming out and talking about things, people are getting more and more awake to these things, and they're getting more and more awake to who's involved with who. You didn't hear anything as well about a specific embassy that likes to wave a white flag with a blue star or anything like that around the place. Nothing about that. Nothing about the stuff that's going on there. But you have to be very mad at the fella there over in Russia, you know? So anyway, quick swig there before we get in. I'll jump into the chat and I'll say hello to the chat. This beautiful chat that's here every week. Absolutely amazing. Very much so appreciative of everybody that drops in here. You know, you got super individuals that are coming in and are talking about what's happening. And again, there's a lot of people that get dropped into this chat and they'd be like, I didn't know about this channel whatsoever. Thanks very much. Sharing is caring, and maybe there might be a video that might take your fancy one day, maybe a video the next. This is a wild channel. And as I've said before, I suppose if I had focus on one topic, it'd bore me out, and it was, I don't know, I think it would really push the boundaries in terms of what's going on. But I also do think with this channel and with the way I'm operating it, I think it's a good thing. And I should say no more. With the way I have the variety of different things, I'm not sure that this thing knows what is going on. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's have a look. And again, like, you might get some people, I've been really surprised, by the way, with the likes of the action figure videos I've been doing, when I've been telling people like little things about what's going on in the wider world. Nobody has been like negative to that whatsoever. Everyone's been very positive to it, because I think more and more people are looking at it and saying, well, hang on here, yeah, bang on there. No wars or anything like that started over the 4 years of the other fella. They were more interested in chasing him around the place. And now that they've started a bit of a commotion over the other side of the world where they can easily stop it, they want to keep it going. It doesn't make sense. Sure, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And nor does it then when you look back at history and look back at who's involved, when they're involved, and how they're involved. So they're all in together. People are now seeing that Hollywood and the entertainment industry are working hand in glove with these people. As has been said before, I suppose John Wayne and Ronald Reagan have talked about that before, specifically themselves, about the influence that these people carry, and not only the influence, but the certain outside influences that wanted to get in and wanted to turn it to the way it is now today. But I think there's a massive cultural shift happening in front of our very eyes, and it's nice to see. You're seeing more and more people. Even when I seen an article not too long ago when they were talking about Andrew Tate and saying about him being removed off platforms, the seeds are already sowed there. There's an awful lot of people that are out there, specifically young men, that are like, yeah, no, I agree with that. Do the same. Not only that then, but when you're talking about the rainbow situation, there's a lot of people out there that are like, nah, not into that. We'll get into one individual there tonight now that's going to be an absolute headache for the left when they look at who's involved with relation to that. But you're seeing more and more steady increase now of more and more men in particular. Not that there's not women involved, there are plenty of base patriot women, and it was something I was talking about with one of the followers of the channel during the week. They were like, have you noticed? And I was like, listen, I always notice. Have you noticed that these base patriot women are always good-looking women? And I'm like, yeah, there's a correlation there, because, I mean, they're happy women, they're looked after, they know what the story is. It's all the ones that, you know, you ask them, do you like pens? And they go, oh, yes, I like a pen. No, yeah. No, the farmer is looking for you to get back into your pen, love. It's all the ones that are like that are the most angry and the most bitter. And I mean, you look at the individual that wrote the She-Hulk show and, you know, tells you everything you need to know about what's happening here in the world. Obviously, as well, too, anybody that's dropping into this channel is probably looking and going, I thought this channel talks about toys. I talk about everything I do. And with this channel, as I said, it's wild. So if you're dropping in here and you're getting a few nuggets of knowledge, nice one for that. And I suppose you'll be on your merry way. So Sergio Soldiers in here says, good evening, my friends. How are you, Ninja? Good to see you. Blue Ground One says, evening all. Ben Truth Uncovered says, check out the Scholars interview with Aston O'Loughlin today. We've got Derek McMahon says, greeting all. Hobel as well today. And Dyson says, good evening, brothers and sisters. May God bless all. Absolutely, 100%. Derek McMahon says, remember, folks, to like, share, and subscribe. And Derek McMahon is with another brilliant point there. If you want to make a point to Ninja, use at Ninja Knight in the chat. Very helpful for me when I'm scrolling through at the end, because I know that people like to talk to each other in the comments, which I love to see. I think last week I had something like 2,000 messages. That's absolutely unreal. 2,000 chat messages. That's savage. It really is. And I mean, considering this is the channel that started off, I think, with 2 people following the live stream now, to be up and around the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, unbelievable stuff. So I very much so appreciate you. Blue Ground One says, even on Derek Demlot says, hello, all Gettr next weekend. Hope to see loads there. That's 2 p.m., isn't it? That's Philip Dwyer, and isn't it Satirical Soldier? That's the one. Satirical Soldier, will you plug that in the chat there and I can read it out then as well? That'd be great. I just saw that just today, so I didn't get enough time to kind of focus in on the times, dates, places, and stuff like that. Big one as well in Galway. By the way, big shout out as well too to Satirical Soldier, Phil Dwyer, and Derek Bloig there in Galway. Fantastic work, and Phil Dwyer's video as well was excellent when he was showing the other half of them there going, look at them banging drums there and laughing at them. And in fairness to the Gardaí that were there, in fairness to them, very jovial. And when Philip was asked questions of these people, the guard was like, yeah, fire ahead. Because it has to come to a point in time now where the Gardaí are looking around at themselves, which they should be for the last couple of years, and saying to themselves, this isn't going well here. And they keep promoting these weirdos they do into jobs. And not only are they promoting weirdos into jobs, but now I'm in danger because, as I've said before, the diversity hire is great and all that when it's a 4 foot nothing little one now, a Tipperary, you know, a little slip of a thing and all that. And the lads are going, oh, she's a bit of something around the station. That's great. But when that chick is out with you in the likes of a Cherry Orchard and it's you and her, you're in trouble. You're in imminent danger. And this is the thing, and these are the type of things that are going to happen. And as I have said before, and as many other people have said before, you look at some of the situations that are happening across in America, and it seems to be a very specific demographic that consistently and constantly are up to things. Now, not to say that that doesn't happen here in Ireland, which I want to make very clear. We have enough of our own baddies without importing more baddies, which is the point that I want to constantly and consistently make. If you're someone that's looking to make a good life for yourself and you're indeed someone that possesses skills that we don't have in this country, fair enough. I see the point on that one. But if you're some yoke that just wants to come into the place and cause a bit of disruption, I have no time for that. Zero time for that. And indeed, I think you're taking an opportunity and indeed taking the time up of Gardaí when they could have been doing something else. So you are now seeing that. And as I said, when this sort of stuff, and what has worked for the last number of years, is the conditioning, the psychological conditioning that has happened to a specific demographic, specifically in America, with the type of music that is out there, with the type of behavior that is promoted, and with the type of TV shows that is promoted. You had Kanye West that very articulately talked about the fact of the way he talks and said, in the community that I'm in, these people look down on me because of the way I talk, because I speak eloquently. And you're looking at him and saying, yeah, he absolutely makes sense, because this has happened to Tiger Woods beforehand, and the type of abuse that those two guys are after getting. It's very interesting to see that. And he's like, why wouldn't we speak like this? We're in the western part of the world where everyone speaks like this. And if I was speaking in my native tongue, that's what I would be doing. And if the native tongue was strong enough across here, that's exactly what I would be doing. But I'm not doing that. So I think that that's very important to note that. And there is a big resurgence here in Ireland, specifically. A lot of people I'm talking to are talking about Gael Skulls, and you're seeing that now being the next one that's under threat as well from these people, these outside agencies that want to come in and want to do what Cromwell did, which was Cromwell 2.0, as I keep saying. So we've got a couple more people in the chat there. Fernando Murkio is in here. Good to see it. Borova 1014 is Andy Tifa. Andy Tifa is waving the Starry plough in one hand whilst waving rainbow flags in another, protesting against an Ireland force rally. Somehow doubt James Connolly would have been allied with these clowns. These people are, as I keep saying, these people are emotionally invested and they are emotionally manipulated into these situations. It's every time there's a spur of the moment thing that happens, or when the media say the current thing, these people get outraged. It's like, for example, at the moment, Cristiano Ronaldo, right? there's an emotional side of fan bases, and emotional people say, or the media go, I was wrong to walk down the tunnel. Yeah, he was wrong to walk down the tunnel. Hang on here for a sec. The greatest footballer of all time was watching Marcus Rashford play up front for Manchester United. He was shit. I have absolutely total sympathy with Cristiano Ronaldo when he's looking at that fella playing ahead of him. Total sympathy. And I fully understand what Ronaldo did. But emotional people can't see the context of it, and they can't see for the facts that have been laid out before for them, which is Marcus Rashford had a very low goal tally last season, down tools under Ralph Rangnick, down tools under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and did the same under Jose Mourinho. Now, he wasn't the only one. Luke Shaw's another one that does that. But like I said, the bit of media attention, oh, these fellas are good guys, look at Marcus look at him there doing his bit of charity work. Yeah, that's great. But Roy Keane does charity work, and he does charity work that nobody knows about. And he's not the only person that does that, by the way. Marcus has himself splashed all over the place. Luke Shaw's another one. Gary Lineker, by the way, coming out and not actually coming out, but telling people, oh, there's people that are going to the World Cup. I would imagine they're English players if he knows. And they're going to come out. Who cares? Nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares. But this antagonising, and I'm telling you, I hope you do antagonise them. Because it's at the stage of the game now where people on their side of the fence are like, we tried to tell you every single time, but we're going to just sit back now and just watch. Because I hope Lineker goes over there. I hope Harry Kane goes over there and starts wearing certain colours and stuff like that. I think it'd be hilarious to see what will happen and the ramifications that will happen. But that's where it's going to next, by the way. If you're someone out there in your Middle Eastern or anything like that, that's where they're going to next. They're going to go out and try and get at you. So that's going to be exciting to see for sure. And I'm looking forward to the World Cup more so for the drama around it rather than the football. The football over the last few years internationally has been terrible. So anyway, that's football. But what I'm talking about is emotionally, these people are constantly linked in to the current thing. And that's why they use certain words and phrases linked to people so that they can have a narrative against them. And that's why I was saying last week there it would be wise of Derek Bloig to have a very serious look at some of the slanderous accusations and defamatory accusations that are being made about him. I would take a very serious look at them if I was him. And this is the thing. He should, because why not? These people are going to have to learn. And that's the way that these people will learn. And the only way that these people will learn. Because if you go around and talk about someone being an Istaphobe, Derek Bloig, as I said, and I have actually, criticised that on this channel about when he was asked to build houses, and he said 50% for Irish, 50% for Ukrainian. He gave you 50%, half, in our country. How could that man be an Istaphobe? That's what he did off the bat. So, and I would imagine that he's worked with, or has people working for him, or has worked for, whatever it might be. People of different nationalities. So when you try to turn around and say he's an Istaphobe, absolutely not. He's seeing the writing on the wall here. And he's talking about it, and it's good to see that. And I hope that these people start running for political positions, because the days have to end now of people sitting and looking at these people in councillor positions, in local TDs, and saying to themselves, that fella's absolutely terrible, or that woman's absolutely terrible. Me being a prime example. Do something about it. Get in there, run against them. They had a fella there not too long ago there, Fintan Bray, where they're championing him and saying, oh, look at this fella's great fella. They're actively mugging the population off there. They told you, even your man that likes to crow about feelings on satirical soldier videos, this guy is out there saying, oh, it's great to see this now, huge achievement, and he competed against several candidates with huge background and histories. That's saying much about them, is it? Is it? It's not only that, then it's showing you that there's an opening, there's a gap there for people. Like I said before, with that stranded opportunity that are opened up, that was an absolute open goal for someone to go in there. Now a fella went in there, he did, because he wanted to put bus ramps on the buses, and he hasn't been heard of since. You know what I'm saying? Sharon Cogan's been heard of because she's in there and talking about what's going on. So, to me, that's what you need. You need more people that are in there. There's more people now around different places now, though, and they're talking about what's happening, and they are not happy with what's happening. And you got to look at, say, for example, it comes down to money. You're seeing people that are saying, oh, look at the people on the dole, they're after getting 250 extra quid. Yeah, but the government raised their wages there right before that budget came out there to match with the inflation. But you're being told now to wait until, February, March, until your wages go up. People that are on pensions, what about them? People that have worked all their lives, their money now is worth less. Your money is now worth less. I'm just going to say that once more. Your money is now worth less because of this government. Because of the fact that you wanted to keep the place closed for 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. That's what you did. And now you've got cafes coming out going, oh, I can't pay the electricity bill. I'm not shocked. Because they're raising these prices speculatively, allegedly. Or maybe you should just ask the question, are they raising these prices to cover the cost of what they bought over the last couple of years? That could be a very serious question because we don't know the figures. You're after hearing there recently there where Brazil, they allegedly spent way over the odds they did to buy stuff off India. Now, we remember Bolsonaro that's over there is running in for a tough time now at the moment because they definitely don't want him where he is. 100%. So that'll be interesting to see how Brazil goes. But you see this country then as well. It's a story that I'm going to link in here tonight. 927 million is being sent out of this country as foreign aid. That's nearly €1 billion that's been sent out of this country as foreign aid. Do you not think that there's enough problems within this country between roads just being one issue, between widespread problems that are happening with criminal activity? What about the issues that you have down with housing? But 927 million has been sent out of this country to God knows where. Nearly $1 billion. And then 3 billion was found down the back of a couch by Pascal to bring people into this country. That Micheál Martin then said, we're not going to be security checking any of these people. People at the airport were more concerned with Philip Dwyer walking around with a camera phone than they were with people walking into the country that don't look like, nor do they fit the demographic, nor ethnicity, nor the statistics that were published by Ukraine themselves. No questions asked. Know what I'm saying? So anyway, we keep going. That was a long-winded one to do with that. Leon Curtis is in here, says, good evening, and all. Hope everyone was well. Colonel Nathan or Jessup says, get off Twitter and get on Gab, folks. It is so much better and has many, many good people on it. Fully agree with you on that, and there's way more information on it as well. Information I showed you last week with relation to the banks, that's not on Twitter. It's not on Facebook. It's not on anywhere else. And actually, I have a big story coming tonight here about YouTube and Facebook. It's going to be interesting to see with the way they're pivoting and they're moving things into the position that they want to go with. Now, again, they're seeing the writing on the wall, which is they're looking and seeing Rumble as well too. That's very much so in the wing mirror. And the object is closer than they seem to be in that wing mirror. Like, you are seeing a very large gathering of people now starting to move to Rumble. No problem. They're over there and going, nice one, lads. Thanks for the bit of spotting over here on YouTube. I'm going to head over here now to Rumble and bring everyone with me. By the way, I'm on Rumble as well too. Make sure you're following me over there, Ninja Knight. So anyway, we keep going. Mr. Chaos says, greetings and salutations. Finola Murdoch says, the lockdown not being able to travel to another country. I'll never forget the hypocrisy. 100% while you're looking at government officials do it, while you're looking at celebrities do it, while you're looking at the likes of The Rock as well too on his Instagram page and his Facebook page. We had to film young Rock. I'm not wearing a mask, but everybody in the crew was wearing a mask to keep me safe, because if I wasn't safe, they couldn't get that production down. Did you not have that already, though, Rock? Did you not have it already? Yeah, I did. Okay, 2 and 3 days. You're fit, man. You should have been okay. Plenty of orange juice, you know what I mean? All good, yeah? Well, it's just to keep me safe. Okay, but you have huge amounts of money. You have your own production company. You should be one of the first people that turned around and went, hang on here, this is nonsense. Along with Cristiano Ronaldo, along with Messi, various people across the world let people down. Novak Djokovic being the only one, in my view, that stood out and stood up and away from the crowd and said, nah, let's bang out of order here. By the way, as well, I'm just going to put this out here because I'll probably put it in the Manchester United video that I'll eventually do about Ronaldo. Ten Hag and the Manchester United team went to Australia. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't. Now, I don't know about you, but I would imagine problems, and they did seem to start in and around then. Just saying. Anyway, keep going. Sparky Malarkey says, Ninja, CEO of the company beginning with P, says 50% of the population will be gone in 2023. He's called Burla. Yeah, that's that Italian fella. He should be in jail. And that's the bottom line on that one. Anne Monaghan says, Dr. Sukarit Bhakti, new findings of personality changes induced by Voldemort. This is something I've noticed myself since the rollout of it. Says Ninja Knight, it's Target Sergeant Leanne Corder says, Anne Monaghan. Well, I find that to be interesting because what I've noticed a lot in people is the aging effect that it has taken on people. It's like the opposite end of Benjamin Button, isn't it? I've seen people, and I know people that are in my line, and they haven't changed in the last 2 years, maybe slightly. But I've seen people that have radically changed in the last couple of years. Tired, worn out, bags under their eyes, crow's feet, grey hair. There's a lot going on. Like honestly, like I've seen people now that look really, really poorly all of the time. And they're getting worse looking. Look at Hugh Jackman, for example. Hugh Jackman is a man that's a multimillionaire. This is something that people want you to forget about. Multimillionaire and is looking rough, you know? Is that Gettr? What's going on with him too? New shaped chin. You know. Anyway, fake reality says who. Steven Eason says hey Ninja. Mr. Deegan says Ninja. Evening mate. Good to see you here. Good to see everyone here. Manuel Godson's in here. Grace is with his presence there. Says hey fellas. Bobby Davro is in here. Waves the hands. Nice one. Fair play to you. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll jump into what's happening here on Gab and we'll go through some of the stories here. Again, like I said to people as well, I like to keep these now short and sweet. I'm going to go in and around the 2 hour marks for these shows because I got a lot of feedback over the last couple of weeks and a lot of people are very happy with the 2 hour mark. So I'm going to stick with it. So again, I know we can do mammoth streams like 3 and 4 hours, but I just think it's better if it's cut up into the more important things rather than some of the things that might not seem as necessary. We'll get into the memes and the lols later on. That'll be for a later date. Insofar as later on in the show, I'm not going to go too far with it, all right? Don't be worrying about it. We'll get into some of the bigger things. So what we'll crack on with here, first and foremost, is this. This is the big one. So this has been something to behold. And again, you've not seen this on the likes of the name stream. They're deciding now to pivot on this one and saying to people, we never said it'd stop it. Hang on here for a moment. Luke O'Neill there said that these are 100% effective. That's actually still on Twitter. It's up in February. You didn't label that to be disinformation or anything like that. That was really weird, that one, isn't it? It's almost like you wanted people to buy into that, and now you're trying to cover your tracks. Fergal Bowers, by the way, out there during the week, been like, we reported the fact and we didn't try to instill fear. And at the end of the day, it was up to the population themselves. Holy moly. They are now blaming the population, which I suppose when you look at it in a certain point of view, is kind of right. Hate to say it, but kind of right. Because if everyone just went, nah, we're all right, it wouldn't have been a runner at all. Instead, it was a runner because people were geeking themselves over the prospect of getting the sniffles. And that's what it was, because I can speak about that from personal experience. If you even tried to say to me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, from personal experience, I know that was nothing more than sniffles, Lemsip, Barocas, orange juice. I was happy days, hunky dory. I'm not giving out medical advice here, by the way. Anyway, if you're so you've got this out here, and this absolutely went through them. Let's have a look.
Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No.
Why? First of all, okay, a lot to unpack there. Why is she laughing? This person, now, I'm no behavioural expert or anything like that, but when people laugh like that, you know why I laugh through the stream? I laugh at my own terrible jokes. Like, that's to be expected. But a person like this, when they're laughing like this, is either not sure about what they're about to say here or understands very firmly the situation that just happened, which was a large, wide-scale con here. Now what they're trying to do is they're trying to flip the script, and enough people have kept receipts because these people that have published this stuff out there, I keep talking about this with the L-boy. I decide to him, I can't understand how, I mean, I do suppose, but I can't understand is what I decide to him, how these people say and do these type of things. Like, for example, Joe there in America. You take these stuff and you're not going to get it. And you do. Everybody that I know that took it has then gotten it. So that was wrong. That was factually incorrect. But they dragged their heels for at least a year about what was going on. Still telling lies to this day, by the way, which is the mind-blowing thing for me. But these people either don't seem to realise that the internet is out there, or, as the old boy would say, they don't care. And they do not care. Because what are the repercussions going to be for these people? Now, for me, when I'm seeing what's going on and the different things, and as the old boy would as well too, seeing the chess pieces that are on the board, and you're seeing a lot of people scurry out of positions, starting to leave them. I'm hoping you forget about them. Tony Houlihan, Paul Reed, and various other individuals there that have just sort of silently slinked away and are hoping just to keep themselves out of the spotlight long enough so that you forget about them. Something's coming down the line in regards to that. I think what's going to happen in America in November is very important. There's two parts of me that feels differently about the situation. One part of me says, well, if it's a red wave and people get in, there's a possibility, and I say a possibility, and this is where the likes of the Reds really let people on the world down they do over the last few years. There's a possibility of them getting in and holding at least some of these people accountable to the full extent of the law. Possibility. On the flip side, if the blue side was to do what it did again in, I suppose, regards to 2020, I think a very different outcome might happen. And I think that might be the point in time where people say, all right, that's enough of that now. And that would be interesting to witness also. Because when you see other places around the world, by the way, they don't want to really talk about Iran and what's happening over there, the same way they didn't want to talk about what happened in Sri Lanka or Afghanistan. You're noticing the pattern there, really? I am. But there's an interesting thing that's going to happen over the next, I think, 4 to 5 years. And I think Britain is probably going to be the one to watch the most. I mean, when you see Liz Truss resign after, was it a month and a half? That is a record. That is an absolute record. Feminists everywhere rejoice. You've now got a record you do for the woman that's fastest into the Prime Minister job and fastest out of the Prime Minister job. Wonderful work, girls. Anyway, that is accountability that has been held in Britain. Here in Ireland, different story. And you look at, for example, something that Miaufla also talked to me about during the week, which I had highlighted in the previous video, about the inheritance tax issue. When I say inheritance tax, the theft of inheritance and what you are owed because of your family and the wealth that they've accumulated and that they want to pass on, that these people want to put their hands into. Something that the outlet said was the Irish way of doing it, sneaky, slyly, commission. The commission said pizza prices should go up. The commission said that we should tax your inheritance more. All moving the eye off them. The British don't seem to do that. They seem to take full and total responsibility, which is very interesting. And it's something that doesn't happen here. But at what point in time are people going to make these people responsible? Well, it's only until people run against them in councillor positions, in TD positions, and then gain the power to then turn it on them. And this is why I think it's important that when you see situations like this, to highlight these situations, save this video and share it on to as many people as possible, because that is a company that is admitting that they did not know, nor did they actually care with the way they're laughing about it. This is a very serious individual within this company. This isn't just some goofball, even though she looks like a goofball. This isn't just some goofball that's sitting there going, no, we didn't. This is someone that's answering questions on behalf of the company. And they're like, nah, we didn't think it is anyway. And then laughing at you. Show that the people that have been taking this stuff over the last couple of years and that have believed in this hand over fist, it's a fascinating watch. I think it's an absolute unbelievable watch. And I cannot believe, well, I can believe, because when you see the limestream wants you to talk about the country with the blue and yellow flag. They want you to talk about the Queen. They want to talk about everything else to do about this data coming out. And that's their job. That's the media's job. The media's job is to distract you from the real story that's happening constantly. And when you see something that's happening, watch what's going on in the background and watch what's happening to you as a result. They didn't get what they wanted over the last couple of years, with businesses not complying and with businesses losing so much money that they were basically on the back of the government telling them, you better open up, lads. And the government had to renege on that and go, okay, right, lads, we'll open up here. But they're just doing it in a different way. They're just going, bills of electricity are going up hunky-dory because one shithole over beside Russia decided to get a bit aggy with Russia, and Russia went, you won't be doing that, son. and went over and sorted it out. Quick, sharp. And when anyone's trying to tell you that it's I have to be careful with the words here because the platform as well doesn't want you to like laugh at it too much. But when you are talking about a full scale, Iraq, Afghanistan and stuff like that, these places, Vietnam and that, when you're talking about a full scale operation, it doesn't happen the way it's happening at the moment. They're just in there hanging around places. Not really anything going on. The video footage is stopped. There's running water, there's electricity, there's Wi-Fi. You can book a hotel in the country. No issue whatsoever. So, more and more people start looking at that and start saying to themselves, well, hang on here. If we're supposed to be all in unison behind this shithole that's now after resulting in us having higher gas prices and electricity prices, but there's actually not much going on over there, why are we suffering? And again, that's the type of stuff that you need to bring back to people, and they will have to try and shift the narrative. Like I said, at the start of the year, they shifted narrative 4 times within something like 2 months. They don't want to be doing that. It's absolutely not in their wheelhouse to be doing that. They're shifting and cycling through more narratives than they ever have done so before. And that is because of the internet. And like you said before, whether it's something to do with, as my dad said, with not caring or with not knowing and be fully up on. Because I'm telling you, as I keep saying to people as well, and every time I say it, someone in the chat is like, brilliant idea, I'll be doing that. Get on your phone a little folder with the different politicians and political groups in this country that had advocated for your freedoms, rights, and civil liberties to be taken away from you, along with the inflation prices that are being poured onto you and pushed onto you, along with the way that they tried to treat you for the last 2 years. Make a little folder and save that. And when these people knock on your door, have a very good talking to with these people. And indeed, as I always say, respectfully, peacefully. That's something I'll always advocate. And see the type of response that you get. Because I know that the old Irish way of doing things would be to just walk away and not have it happen. But a lot of people are taking it into their own hands to record these conversations. And it's been something that has been very enjoyable to witness because more and more people now are really realising these people don't care about us whatsoever. And they're only interested in filling their own pockets. Like I said at the start of the stream, at the top of the stream, and I keep saying at the top of each stream, Enoch Burke is in prison. And not one of these people have jumped up and down and have demanded his release. But you've seen people in the Dáil that are still there crawling around the place that jumped up and down for the release of Ibrahim Halawa and Lisa Smith. You know what I mean? So have a look at this now again. And again, just to show you.
Straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping humanisation before it's entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand what is taking place in the market.
This is scandalous. Millions of people worldwide felt forced to get vaccinated because of the myth that you do it for others. Now, this turned out to be a cheap lie. This should be exposed. Please share this video.
Fully agree with him on that one. Now, as an aside as well, just to put this out there, right, because I've seen it over the last few years. Now, I'm someone that's a bit, I would say, overly interested in teeth. I wouldn't say overly interested, but certainly interested. I'm more so interested because I see young people getting veneers these days, and I talk to them and say, what's the story about that? They're like, I wasn't happy with the teeth and all that. Or I had a problem here, there, and everywhere. Talk to older people as well, too. They've lost teeth, and they're like, I'm not happy and stuff like that. I'm looking and have looked at documents that are there since at least 2002. Okay? So 20 years of documents. No, I haven't looked at all of them, but what I'm saying is there's publishings in 20 years, multiple documents, and multiple scientists that are telling people we can regrow teeth. Most recently as well, there's a university in Berlin that have said that they have the ability to regrow teeth. Fantastic news. Now, they said over the last 2 years that their trials had to stop because of the sniffles. So it will be interesting to see when it resumes. But just think about that for a moment. These people were happy to fire out these Voldemorts that you cannot remove from yourself. The teeth, on the other hand, they keep knocking it back and being like, not sure about that. No, deny it. What's going on there? You're going to use people's own cells for that. that could cause problems, because if they can grow teeth, which is the hardest substance in the body, they might be able to grow hands, limbs, fingers. Deny it. You see what I'm saying? So the wider scale of things is in keeping patients and keeping money rolling. It's the same thing with the Transformer situation. I feel very much so that people are being brainwashed and they are being encouraged into being something that they are absolutely not, instead of seeking mental health. And what is happening now is these companies are preying on these people. Recently, Salty Cracker did a video as well too of a young woman who was saying that she is now a man and she had taken this testosterone. She now has male pattern baldness. You want to see the head of her? Unbelievable. So you now have that. But what's going on in the background is the company are making millions off each of these individuals. I think it was a ballpark figure that was given out there that each company earns 1.5 million off each individual. This is why they're going mad to get her into the likes of the US Army, because they will absolutely pay hand over fist for it. And it's just money that's just circulating then. But like I said there, over 20 years worth of studies, I will just say at least 20 years worth of studies, and proof that they can regrow teeth, but constantly deny it. But this thing here was like, speed of science. Speed of science, guys. What about the litany of issues that people have with missing teeth? That they say now that is related to cardiovascular issues, that they say is related to various other issues that you can have around the body. How about that? No interest in helping those people out. No. Why? Because that is potentially, sound like a man now, half voice there, potentially. That is potentially a permanent fix. That's not what they're interested in. And more people, when you explain to them like that, are like, now I see it. The teeth, 20 years. But this stuff, fire it out, see what happens. We didn't say it wouldn't stop it being moved around between people. Yeah, but you did. You told people. Joe there told people. Anthony Fauci told people. Tony Hewlin was telling people. Allegedly, speculatively, would say on that one. It'll be all good here when you get these things. But it wasn't. That was a lie. And like he was saying there, Roos was saying there, it's scandalous. It should be the scandal of the century, should be the scandal of our time. And isn't it unbelievable to think of the fact that the internet exists and we have more technology in our hands, in our pockets than ever before, and still people were like, I believe what they're saying over there. Like, seriously. Recently as well too, I watched the Justice League movie and I was like, the Cyborg character always fascinated me because of the fact that he had instant access to information and instant access to the likes of the internet. He was an impressively intelligent character and they sidelined him. Walter Hamada and the DC executives sidelined him. They did. Funnily enough as well too, even though they're saying that they wanted to promote diversity and all that, they took probably arguably the most powerful character in DC Comics, a black man, and permanently sidelined him. Unreal stuff. But anyway, that's basically what we are now. We are basically Cyborg. We are basically Robocop at this stage, where we have these phones that allow us to have more information than ever. And yet still people are going, no, it doesn't work like that. I'm telling you it doesn't work like that. And I'm telling you that you're right in saying that because you don't know what's happening. But these esteemed people like Robert Malone do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that these people that have experience of this probably know a lot more about it than you do. And then personal experience. Personal experience always comes into it. Now let's have a look at some of the other stuff. This is another banger, and I have to say, lads, you've seen the video. I firmly laughed at this one because this is the realization as well from Harvey Two-Face Dent here that this isn't going to just go back to normal. This isn't just a blip in the road. This is a permanent fixture here now. And Justin Bieber has recently cancelled loads of concert dates. So whatever going on with him isn't good. And that's going to wheel itself on now from here on. Now again, you might feel it to be somewhat disrespectful when it comes to laughing at these people. But I do feel that it's the point in time now that we should laugh at these people because here's the thing. These are the same people that advocated for you to be locked indoors, for you to be extracted from your home against your will on the suspicion that you had the sniffles, like the movie Equilibrium. If you've never seen the movie Equilibrium, watch the movie Equilibrium. It is a fascinating story, a fascinating movie, and very, very much so like the way they wanted to go with it over the last couple of years. I swear to God, I watched it not too long ago, and I actually was watching the movie. And I loved the movie from years ago, particularly because of the action, but I watched it given a current frame and lens, and I was like, that's frightening because that's the way this is going to go. So look at that and see which way they wanted to go with it. And these people vehemently support that. And that's why I'm saying to you, with the likes of technology, with the people that are around you, this is why it's more so important, more so now than ever, to talk to people. And if someone's banging out of order and they're wrong, call them on it. I remember there not too long ago, someone was talking absolute junk. They were talking about Teflon Don, as they call him now in America. And I said, yeah, he didn't start any wars there in the last 4 years. People had money in their pockets. They don't have money in their pockets now, and now they're at the been entrapped, in my view, in another issue across there beside Russia for some shithole that should have just waved the flag in the first week, which they were told to do so by former high-ranking generals. And they just look at you and they're like, well, we should support them. That's grand, yeah. Why don't you head on over there then, is my answer. And they look at you even harder and they're like, if you feel that way about that country, head on over. Go. Nothing's stopping you. You can jump on the plane tomorrow. Sure, that's a taking all your stuff there. You can go. All stuttering. Yeah, that's grand. Like Niji out of Love Hey. Get into the car, would you? You stuttering and fuck you. So anyway, let's have a look at this.
This is not a video I want to make, and it's kind of hard to make because as I'm watching myself, I see what I'm going to say, which is I have been diagnosed with Bell's palsy, which is...
That's a very familiar diagnosis. Now, here's the thing, and as I keep saying to people as well, this is an actress. This is a Canadian actress. Justin Bieber is one of the biggest stars across the world. And you've seen other individuals like Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried, and who are no longer with us. You've also got Ray Liotta that went into sleep as well, which they do not want to talk about whatsoever. And now you've got this here. Prolific people. And to me, as I keep saying, who is going to be the person? To me, for the footballing world, it was Christian Eriksen. I was like, holy moly. Then it was Sergio Aguero. I was like, listen, lads, probably need to be saying something now across all of you. But they all kept stum. But looking at this now is more apparent because this is happening to average Joes and nothing is being said. If public figures like this are coming out and making statements and making videos, you can bet your bottom dollar this is happening to the average Joe and nothing's been said.
Paralysis on one side of the face. For me, it's this side here, obviously. So I got...
Look at that. That is incredible. And you see this side of the face here. This one obviously is the side that's not working, so it looks normal. But this is how all of these people, if you can just do it like, I suppose, symmetrically there, this is how all of the people that I know that have taken this stuff look. Bags under the eyes, worn out, really blotchy skin and stuff like that, really looking poorly. And to me, can be interesting.
Got it about 2 weeks after getting my vaccine. And I had a rough go with the vaccine, and I guess still am. But I have to say that I would do it again because...
Oh, stop. That gets me every time. Every single time that gets me. I will totally do it again. Are you for real? Now, here's the thing. You are for real, which is the sad part. I look at me, I'm all messed up. I'm doing a video here. I'm very emotional. But I'll totally do it again. You are too far gone to even have a conversation with. And this is what I'm talking about. There's people that are out there that are like this. Don't worry about them. Don't speak to them anymore. Forget about them. Lost cause out. And this is the thing that you're seeing now widespread across the world. People are going, you were interested in getting involved in this stuff? No, I'm not messing with that now anymore. Good luck to you. So people now in general are viewing incidents like this and thinking nothing of it. But of course, you were to be terrified of the sniffles for the last couple of years. Incredible.
Because it's what we have to do.
It's what we have to do. This woman is at least 40, and she is speaking as if she is a toddler. Now, when you look into the large majority of people that get into acting, I'm not going to cast any wide dispersions here. Maybe I will. I'm going to make a suggestion here. A lot of people that are actors, from what I've noticed, are people that crave attention. and are people that didn't have a steady nucleus nor basis in their own lives. And lives, I should say, rather than lives. These people are out there then, and they are shallow, vacuous people that are used to speak the lines of somebody else, largely. And now what is happening is they're speaking the same lines again, they're repeating the same mantra. You've now been told that this stuff doesn't stop transmission, so getting it in the first place was pointless. You are now telling people that even though you're all messed up, that you're looking like the Elephant Man, that you're looking like Slot out of Goonies here, hey you guys, that you're going to do it again. Me and other people, I should not say me, I'm not going to say me, and scrub that from the record there, strike that from the record. What I'm going to say is there's a lot of people that are out there online that the script has been flipped. And when you've had people out there that were saying to people, hey, take these things and lose our freedoms, ha ha ha, I'm sitting in the restaurant and the pub and all that, the script is now flipped and our side is telling the people, take more. And these people don't know what to do. They're like, okay. People are like, take more, go ahead, keep going. And what is happening now is, and has been happening, is an interesting shift, I think, in that sort of way of thinking. Now, is that good? I don't think so. Because when you see people that are getting to that stage, you're like, whoa, people have really been peeved at each other, and this has caused so much division over really nothing, when people should have been united and said, hang on here, 99.9% survival rate, no issue whatsoever, Granny's still all right, I'm now 4 into this and I have a face there like Harvey Dent from Batman. I tell you what, I'm not angry at the person that didn't take it, I'm angry at the person that told me to take it, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you got to look at these people for what they are. The Mark Hamills of the world, the likes of the Dwayne Johnsons of the world, shallow, vacuous individuals that are being used to push out whatever type of nonsense that these people want to push out. It's sad, I suppose, for this person. But in the same token, I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, I told you not to mess around, and you decided to mess around, and now you found out. And that's happening to a lot of people out there now, when you're looking at even the excess passings and the way that they're trying to cover that sudden illness, accident. There's an awful lot of accidents happening lately, isn't there? That seems to be quite strange. Anyway, we should progress on past this here, because I did the video, we had all alts, and we'll keep moving. Now let's see what's down here. Usually I try to put the more interesting stories there. Did I put that down? Oh, it's 3 days ago. Getting through it now. Okay, right. This is the one that got me now, guys, right? Former Sinn Féin councillor Jonathan Dowdall sentenced to 4 years for facilitating. Ninja can't speak. Facilitating. Okay, we got that out there. Passing. Now, I did a story last week, if you remember correctly, about someone that was sent down for 9 years because they possessed Mary Jane. How is it that a person that possesses a plant, that they get more time than this dude? How is that? Now, this fella's also gone into the witness protection program from this article that's coming from the journal.ie. And you've got to just look at this. I'm going to do a video probably on it anyway, and I'm going to just show the rampant hypocrisy and nonsense of it. How can someone get 4 years for this, but someone gets 9 years for the plant? Like, what's the story with that? Now, to me, the more you look at the plant situation, you have to say to yourself, well, they're keeping that behind closed doors there for a very specific reason. And the reason is because all of these companies that are out there would lose a fortune, because this thing, according to friends, again, I'm not someone that endorses or partakes in anything like that, according to friends, alleviates a lot of problems. According to friends. That's what I'm saying. Now, again, speculatively, allegedly, I don't know anybody. I'm not speculating and alleging that now. I'm telling you, I don't know anybody that partakes or endorses or, partakes or anything like that. So, just saying that 9 years for the plant seems a bit extreme, considering should we not be valuing human life? This is the mantra that these people have been telling us for the last couple of years. Oh, watch out for Granny. Watch out for your fellow citizen. Watch out for that. You're being placed under house arrest. You can't go to the gym and the cinema and the club because of looking after your fellow human's life. But this dude, no, 4 years, that's kill. What? Doesn't make sense. How does that make sense? Doesn't. Let's keep going. Car restrictions across Dublin City to be introduced within 3 years. reallocation of road space to cyclists and pedestrians among 35 Pathfinder transport projects in 19 counties. That's absolute nonsense, that is. But what's happening is, as you've quite clearly noticed, is what's happening is they're putting these cycle lanes and pedestrian walkways in, and they're actually encroaching on the road. This is causing mayhem, and not enough people are talking about it. I mean, the buses and stuff like that are just not saying anything. They're just like, people that are driving for a living, or whether they work with vehicles for a living, all say nothing. Getting bad. It's getting bad, and there's no infrastructure to do anything about that. Liz Truss is Prime Minister of Britain just over a month, and there's already serious pressure mounting to get her out today. That's 4 days. Had to credit the Brits on the energy. Look at the three useless leading the Irish government about useful as a chocolate teapot. Now, Dublin Airport says politicians condemn pro. Will we even say letters? Can we say letters on this platform? Probably not. Anyway, chant by passengers. Dublin Airport and politicians in this country are condemning it. Why? There was actually something up there, I think it was Satirical Soldier shared it not too long ago. I think it was talking about Wolf Town and the tens of thousands of people that was eventually had an issue with that. We would just say passings and all of that. And the commemoration that's been done for it. And now these politicians, these same spineless, gutless politicians coming out and going, it's very mean to be singing these type of songs. No, what's happening is you don't want people to get ideas. That's what's happening there. And that's clearly what you're doing, because that's the same play that you make across all of the board. I mean, you look at Afghanistan. Or you look at those places in a totally new light over the last few years. I was full Team America a couple of years ago. No shame in admitting that. But then I think about it and I say, well, hang on here. These people from a place there that they were loyal to enter in the country, and the go-herders just decided, no, we're not having that. Fought arguably the biggest army in the world to standstills and to very heavy losses. And when I say that, I mean that these go-herders that have very little training were able to hold these people off, these very astute and well-trained individuals, and still they were battened off, so much so that they eventually had to very badly run away under the Joe administration and with their tails behind their legs. I look at that and I say, well, hang on here for a second. As an Irish person, you've decided to invade their country under false pretenses, so of course they're going to be aggy about that. It makes sense. Because now that you look at the whole thing, you're thinking that you're going to say to me that a fella that operated like Cobra Commander in a bloody mountain in the middle of nowhere was able to orchestrate what went on there in New York. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And some of the suspect things that happened after that, to say the very least, have now gone more people's attention. And now they are looking and they are watching. And for me, you see this here is the same thing. Why wouldn't people commemorate these people? Why wouldn't they? Because the people in charge don't want people, A, getting ideas, and B, they are subservient to others because this looks bad for them. And a lot of British people that are out there do not understand their own history because they've been taught a version of history in Britain, which I clearly know because I speak to friends and my friends in the UK that all believe that you're the baddie because you're part of this three-letter group is what they all say. But you go, now hang on here for a second, you invaded this place and we were well within our rights to fight you off because if someone invaded your place, would you not do the same? Oh, yeah. Well, then there you go. You've got the answer right there yourself. You know? And again, silly stuff coming from politicians here, and you know what I mean? You've disrespectful from Stephen Farry and Steve Baker. Who even are they? Stephen's on the interview, now plans to give second to under 50s, but difficult winter ahead amid twin and missed targets. The company are out there admitting that this stuff doesn't work out. Like, so I mean, like, what are you talking about, man? Like, what are you actually saying? This fella should be in jail. Enoch Burke is sitting languishing in Mountjoy, where this fella should be, and various other individuals there in the government should be also. We're being penalised to go to work. Liffey Valley workers protest our staff parking charges. That's outrageous. The whole centre should be out there, by the way. And you'll see an article there up above that I have Dublin Live being like, look how easy it is to use this cashless, pay-as-you-go park. Absolute dipsticks. You dipsticks. But again, being used as a tool to say, look how cool this is, guys. It's not. The parking was free 2 weeks ago. Now you're telling people they have to park for it. And not only that, but the workers are being told to park for it. And this is more money being siphoned. Now, I'm going to strike that. Stolen from the Irish people to fund God knows what. Because that's what's going on even with the toll bridge. A toll bridge, guys. To drive from the north side of the city to the south side of the city. A toll bridge. Like, when you just stand back and look, you say people are easily scammed down money here. And years ago, the likes of the Yanks there, they got upset about a tax being introduced and increased on tea. On tea. I don't like tea. And well, I do. I actually like herbal teas. I think they're actually quite nice. But people that are out there are like, oh yeah, because at that stage they were like, I only live a finite life, and I've no interest in living it in squalor. I've no interest in living it under the cosh, and I've no interest in giving an inch, because if I do, these people are taking a mile. And that's exactly what's happened. Too many people out there have been pampered. Too many people out there have been coddled, and this is what's the end result of that. But as they say, good times make men weak, hard times make men hard. And that's definitely going to be the comeback. And this is why the likes of the establishment are getting a bit more unhappy about the rise of people around the world, and indeed the rise of certain groups across the world, because more and more of them are saying, here, hang on here, look at the rampant criminality that's going on here in this country and other countries. I think we should put a stop to that. Ireland spent record 967 million on overseas aid in 2021. Ireland has spent a record 961 million on overseas development aid in 2021. It's absolutely scandalous, as I said there. This is all at the same time that they're telling you that you should be paying through the nose for your electricity, your gas, your oil. Take a shorter shower, and that'll sort out your man there in Russia. What? Take a cold shower as well? You're at the same as well too. Added to that, Russia isn't to be blamed for everything. Oh, but it is. Like, what is happening? And these are things, these are articles that are passing in front. Now, they do it very cleanly, insofar as Deutsche News here putting it out, and they put it out here as an article online. A lot of people that are out there don't know that this has happened, because it's not on the 6-1 News. So if it doesn't happen on the 6-1 News, it didn't happen at all. And this is why people, I mean, it happens every week, by the way. I look at the likes, for example, on the end of the video, and this averages around 80 odd likes it does every stream. And what I've been seeing in the last week or so is an increase to 90s and 100s. Now, when I go look at some of the bigger stations that are out there, when I say stations, when I look at some of the bigger channels that are out there, these people are out there and are saying to you, hey guys, look what's happening over here now in this country, and look at the issues that we have here. And I'm going, yeah, that's great. You're spoofing, and you're getting 14 likes there. You've got 50 odd thousand subscribers. And this little Clown World Gonzo channel here, this Clown World commentary, this is getting more likes than you. How is that possible? Because telling the truth. And this is why it's important to tell the truth, because more and more people now are starting to look at this and go, hang on here. That's an incoming video, by the way. When you see that Ireland has spent 967 million on overseas aid in 2021, that should be absolutely roiling you to no degree, because how can they justify that when you have your own Irish people homeless on the street, when you have a record inflation that has hit this country now due to them imposing it, due to them cheering it on, and now letting the likes of electricity companies do what they like, along with the banks, because the banks are in the background as an aside, because again, like I said, I like to talk about money because money is very important to this. The banks in the background are saying interest rates are going to go up, lads. And they're all looking at each other and they're going, how much will people take? We go up to 3%, will we? We'll see how we get on with 3%. And they're steadily taking your income off you. They're steadily devaluing your property. And they're steadily going to try and take that property totally off you eventually. And they're going to do it through a very slow method, because these people are going to wait, and they are going to wait, and they are going to wait, because to them, they have enough money. They're filling their pockets. They're lining them. And they're looking at you and saying, sure, you're all going to do nothing. Because there's no credible mounting political party that is going to oppose us in any real way, that's going to take the reins off us. Sinn Féin, They're compromised. They're finished. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it's part of the Unit Party now. So it's going to take something very new and something that's going to have to go through, and it's going to have to resonate with so many people. And articles like this are the type of things that need to resonate with people. I've seen a lot of people as well that have been putting up stickers and posters and stuff around the place, which is fantastic to see from our side of the coin, because there are people that are out there that are not aware that this is going on. And if you switch off your phone, switch off the telly like that, you're probably not aware of anything going on anyway. But what it's getting people to understand is, if they're seeing these things out and about, they're looking and going, oh yeah, that makes sense, that does there. What's happening there? The Irish have been left to last in their own country. Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. My son or daughter, they can't afford to buy a house there, but Kelechi over there and Xi Jinping that's either coming in there, they're not able to afford houses. Well, actually, they're not able to afford the house. They're just being given the house. And they're having countless number of offspring there that they're all collecting for too. Meanwhile, the Irish, the paddy, has been left to the last in their own country. And I say that as a person that says Nigerians should come first in their own country, Chinese should come first in their own country, Australians should come first in their own country, Guatemala, they should be coming, Guatemalans should be coming first in their own country, Argentinians, everywhere around the globe. I feel that the people, the native population that are there, should come first. Now again, this is something that the left do not understand. Oh my God, the native population. What do you think about the Native Americans? Yeah, exactly. Thought so. Parents face fines or prison for holidaying early in these countries. Parents are increasingly taking kids out of school to beat peak season price hikes, but they could live to regret it. Euronews.com. Now, what's also on the rise, by the way, is homeschooling. And homeschooling is very much so dramatically taking a very sharp increase now. And this is worrying these people. So much so that Euronews are actually doing the story. You know that these people are panicked when they are seeing people increasingly go, what's little Jimmy learning today? What's he learning? Oh, do you want to talk about that rainbow thing? Yeah, no, whipping him out there. Not interested in that. What's Jimmy learning about today? Talking about Germany again, are they? What about the likes of the Irish? No interest in that. Okay, yeah. No, sure, look, we go on holidays anyway. So people are understanding that, and they're also then at the same token deciding, hang on here, they're being told to conform here by people that are very much so not critically thinking. So yeah, I'll take the holiday, or what I'll do is I'll put them and have them in my own homeschool, and that's what they're saying. These people are now shifting the Overton window as well, because now more and more people are looking at this and going, that's perfectly reasonable. It's the parents and it's their kids, and they're free to do what they want, because these are the same people, the same outlets that are telling you that a parent is free to encourage their child to be transformer, So what about that? Are we not all free then? Is that the case you want to go with? Because I don't think that looks good for you, because that's quite hypocritical. So you want to punish parents for giving their children a good life, but you don't want to punish parents that are telling the 4 or 5-year-olds, 6, 7-year-olds that on any given day is probably telling you that they're a dinosaur or a member of the Marvel Comics Heroes Gallery or DC Comics or whatever it might be. They might be a dog on the day. You're taking them credibly and saying, yeah, we're going to schedule for you for that reassignment surgery there. I can think of who's doing the worst thing out of the both of them there really easily. And common sense, unfortunately, has very much so gone out the window for at least a decade, but it's starting to make a comeback now. And when I talk about it, I do with my friends, and some of my friends, they be talking about their own kids, and they do like, this is great. You're seeing more little based people grow up because they've lived through an era and are living through an era where this stuff is becoming intensified. Their parents are sick of it, but what they won't do is they won't vocalize it. But what they'll do is they'll vocalize it at home. They won't vocalize it in a social gathering. But here's the thing, the flip side of that is that the younger ones are actually growing up, agreeing with that, and then speaking amongst themselves, and they all unanimously agree. Fascinating stuff. What threat does the renamed flu pose for us this winter? This is coming from Renews. None is the answer. Because CSO statistics and data is out, is it not? Did Eddie Hobbs not put that out there? 183 people in 2 years? Like, with all due respect there, the government were telling you it's 5,000 people. It seems to be a spoof. Seems to be grossly inflated across all of the numbers that they've been publishing across the world. So to me, zero interest in this one, but they're attempting it. And this is Fergal Bowers that's writing this. So in the same day that he's posted this, he's also then saying, it's up to you whether you want to buy into it or not as the public. Yeah, so you should absolutely not mind it whatsoever. This is a good news story. Conviction overturned for the man who sent threats to Donkey from Shrek. Michael argued he was so drunk he could not remember sending the threats. The base judge there. They've looked at what Donkey's been doing there for the last couple of years and clearly thought, not having that. Or in preparing for forced mission to space as Leo Varadkar signed his new space plan. As, like, guys, come on, bit of editing there. Shows you the editing that's at the irishmirror.ie, you know what I mean? I've actually seen that in a couple of pieces. Just as an aside, the editing and some of the spelling errors that have happened in some of these articles really are shocking. And these are news establishments and publications, and they're just publishing these things without actually checking through it. Anyway, I reckon they should send the entire doll. Taoiseach Leo Varadkar confirmed yesterday he had signed a letter of understanding and legal documents that will allow the country to launch its forced space mission. This is a country that doesn't know its arse from its elbow when it comes to the likes of the government, and they think that they're going to fly people into space. Absolute space cadets. But send them on. I reckon the doll should go. They should be forced up, I reckon. Head on, lads. Journey out into the great beyond. Pull a Star Trek there, guys. You won't be missed. And I think it would be good for you to voyage off. And I prosperity, I'm going to say this, I think it'd be awesome for you to meet some, extraterrestrials, and for them to meet you and go, oh, we're not going there. We're not going to Earth. We're leaving it at it. It's too dumb. It's ridiculous. It's clown war, guys. We're not going there. Taoiseach struck by violence on O'Connell Street and says fabric of the street must change. Roisin Shortall questioned the Taoiseach on the street following a primetime broadcast yesterday. If he is surprised, if he is struck by this, it then goes to tell you that this guy has no clue whatsoever, or he's telling lies. Now, neither of those situations work out in a positive light for this guy, because if you're the leader of the country and you don't know what's going on the main street of this country, which is hallowed ground in my view when it comes to the likes of the GPO and what happened in the GPO with the way people fought the British Empire on that very street, if you do not know what's going on that street on a daily basis, and indeed the problems that are occurring on the daily basis in that street, you're not fit for the duty that you're claiming to be part of. You're not fit for it. So to me, it's either bad intel and bad advising, or it's just someone that truly doesn't care. Now, I'm going to say it's the latter rather than the former, because this is a guy that walked past people with special needs not too long ago in the video that I showed. This is a guy that just had no interest, disregard, and so much so that the crowd indeed turned on him, booed, hissed, and chanted at him. Doesn't faze him. He doesn't care. He's not hanging around O'Connell Street. He's not packing himself in to the likes of nightclubs around town, walking around having a bit of a dance and going down and wondering if he's going to get home all right. If he gets to the Spire and if he can get to the taxi rank and see if he can get home safely. Not going to be this fella's life. You know what I'm saying? He's not interested in doing things like that. The average Joe, though, other side of the fence. Now let's keep going here. Irish cafe owner hit with €8,000 electricity bill, won't let it be her. I'm so emotional about this, but we're not going to let it be us. It's going to increase though. So you're not living in reality here when you're talking to the Irish Mirror, telling them that it's not going to be us. Why don't you just turn around and say, hey, we're business owners here. We're working to provide a service, and the government of Ireland here are sending over 900 million out of this country when they should be helping businesses like ours. You see what I'm saying? This is how you just bring it all back. And these people are reporting these things, which is the most scandalous thing to me. $8,000 been sent as a bill to this person. Not the only person. There's other people that are claiming that they're being sent 70 grand bills. I think one hotel there, I think it was in Wexford or Waterford, was saying that. And not being helped at all. But 900 million, nearly $1 billion, been sent out of the country? Ah, yeah, get that on there, lads. When are these businesses going to get upset? Because I'm telling you this now, if I owned a business like one of these, I would be irate. I would be absolutely up and down the country, along with the lads that are there telling them, hey, listen, I'm not a fan of this whatsoever here. I'm not having this. I'm running an election against these guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what needs to happen, because the businesses, and it's as simple as this, some of these businesses that we all thought will have a poke at, I suppose, when they're flying their blue and yellow flag in their bio and stuff like that, and telling you that they should have been shut down for 2 years, like this one was, because they did look at their social media outlet, and they were like, guys, due to the guidelines, we're going to shut down. Why? You should have just kept cracking on there, because that was pure and total nonsense. And as a result, now you've lost money for at least a year. And now you're like, £8 bill. I'm not shocked, but not enough of you stood up. New laws on stalking and strangulation in weeks. Minister for Justice Helen McEntee has said she will be introducing new laws around stalking and non-fatal strangulation in the coming weeks to make them stand alone. Nothing stopping illegal immigration, though. They're actually welcoming them in. This one does loads of talking, loads of hot air, and then nothing. This has to be the worst Justice Minister of all time. And what I do like about situations like this is it just completely and totally reinforces the point that people have been making for the last number of years, which is radical leftist women, that, again, women, term I use very loosely here, they are all for this type of stuff, rather than looking at the baseline problem, which is rampant criminality in this country. There's a story there about a French 12-year-old girl. Harrowing story. I would say look into it, rather than me have to talk about it, because it is a harrowing story. And that is the end result of a country deciding not to do background checks, not to do security checks. And that's what's been left into the country. So this person is interested in stalking, which everybody knows what this means, because they like to talk about it like this. It means that if you're going to be constantly speaking out about these people, that's what they're going to consider to be stalking. You're seeing it in Britain. You've just seen it with Alex Belfield. Alex Belfield, they're after sending down, I think, for 5 years for telling the truth. Oh, he was stalking. Who was he stalking? Jeremy Vine. Jeremy Vine was telling people that they shouldn't be able to be let outside their doors if they didn't take the Voldemort. I don't know who's worse here. Actually, I do. It's Jeremy. It's definitely Jeremy. The fella that's reporting on him. Nothing wrong with that at all. So you're also seeing as well too, Alex as well too, when they're giving him nearly $1 billion fine. What about the dude that actually took a lot of people out? What about him? Don't worry about him not having to pay anything back there now. He doesn't have to pay $1 billion. Well, sure, that's all pie in the sky then, isn't it, really? So this is all mad stuff as well. And when it comes to this stuff, this will all be gender-based as well too. This will all be in favour as well too of women. And not that women don't stalk or anything like that, and not that they do physical things. Of course, every year they eulogise Caroline Flack. If that was a dude, that it'd be the other way around. So to me, this is all, again, another one to go at men. And I mean, men are at a disadvantage now, more so than ever. I mean, I talk to fellas that I know, mates of mine and that, and we all unanimously agree. It's like marriage isn't appealing anymore, because you're at such a financial loss and at a loss in life if you decide to engage in that. There's nothing for you when it comes to that. And now that more and more people are looking at it, and I would be someone that would advocate and endorse marriage for sure. However, my faith in the church as an institution has all but gone. And then I look at that and I'm going, well, hang on here. That's a legally binding contract there. That's literally telling you that you're going to get shafted if you engage in it. So why would you? Why would you? And this is what it's coming back down to. People are being discriminated against, particularly men. And men are being discriminated in that way. And so they're going, no, I'm not partaking in that. You mad? Absolutely. No way. And then these people get mad then. They're like, oh, we're going to have to do something about that. Guarantee you that the first 2 cases of this that'll come out will be all men. Now, again, rightfully so. If someone is doing this and they're doing it to a very, very big extent, obviously with a certain connotation. But see, the way that they do these laws and the bills and all that, they're loosely worded, they are to mean anything. So if you were deciding to report on someone and you're saying, here, look what this person is doing, and they're down here and down here, these people now are going to do what they did in Britain. The exact same thing, and go, that person is harassing and stalking me. No, they're not. They're reporting on the criminal behaviour, allegedly, speculatively, that people are carrying out. So this is where you're looking at it. You're looking at these type of things that leftists are introducing. Not interested in illegal immigration. Not interested in deporting people that are coming here illegally, that have already engaged in criminal acts to get here. And criminal acts then, for not all of them, but some of them, are going to be no problem at all. let's be concerned about this here. Madness, isn't it? Let's keep going and have a look. There's another one. I just want to play this as a bit of a lead in. Now, I will do a video on this as well. But this is an alleged comedian called Fabu D. Now, this is a fella that hails from Nigeria. So you will hear it in the voice that he is going to put on. Now, this fella is very much so known online for doing videos of himself where he puts on a scanger, as you will, Dublin accent, and then puts on a posh one to kind of take the mick out of Paddy. Ridiculous stuff. This fella thinks he's Kevin Hart, and he's no Kevin Hart anyway. This fella's not funny at all. But isn't it interesting that a guy like that comes into this country and that's what he decides to take aim at, which is Dublin culture and Irish culture, and people are like, oh, good job. This fella has to be one of the worst comedians, and I say, and use that term very loosely, that I've ever seen. And then he goes on a couple of years and spouts this off, which is going to bring into the next video that I'm going to show. It's unreal stuff. Let's have a look.
It's a new Ireland.
It is though. It is the new island. It's the new island of new, different diversities.
Now, just before we get into the video, this is a guy that calls himself the Black Paddy. This is a fella that had a bit of an issue with John Connors not too long ago. Now, not that I'm a fan of John Connors at all. I wouldn't be a fan of him at all because everyone knows that John Connors made a very passionate speech and then rescinded his words then very quickly afterwards, from what I understand. But John Connors and him had a bit of a bother because he decided to use a joke, Fabu that is, that has been used by Irish people for a very long time about strawberries and Wexford, okay? And used a word that sounded very similar to cream cracker, for example. And John Connors got awful offended about that. And then he decided to highlight the fact of what Fabu D looks like. And Fabu D responded with an apology. And in the apology, he used the word that sounds like cream cracker a lot during the apology. Now, to me, that was basically poking his finger into the eye of Connors. And Connors accepted the apology, no problem at all. Rather than actually going, hang on here for a second. You're after telling us you wouldn't use the word, but then you persisted in it. Roles reversed, roles flipped. If Connors was saying sorry for using a certain word pertaining to Fabu D and used that word repeatedly during the apology, do you think it would be perceived differently? You know what I'm saying? So we'll go into this here. Black Paddy likes to talk to people as well too, like Baldy McDonough that hangs around town. Another fella, the less said about him, the better, to be quite honest with you. But this is the type of guff that was being published on our own stations here in Ireland, with Hector here now, listening to this and laughing with it.
It's a new Ireland.
It is though. It is the new island. It's the new island of new, different diversities, multicultural people, Filipinos, Spanish, Africans, mixed people. I met the girl the other day, and I was like, "Where are you from?" She goes, "My man's from China."
That really bothers me as well too when they affect that accent. I mean, that's like me walking over into Nigeria and starting pulling off a Nigerian accent to these people's faces. I don't think that's going to go down well. Now, that's not even mentioning the fact of what they do to Christians there in Nigeria. Not even mentioning that. But I don't think that's going to go down well. You know what I mean? I think they're going to rightfully look at you and go, what are you doing?
And I was like, "Where are you from?" She goes, "My man's from China, and my dad is from Africa." I'm like, "Whoa! Ireland is unique now. We're mixed." Because I can imagine in...
What's this we business? You're not Irish, mate. You are not Irish. And no matter how many times the left want to tell you that you're Irish and they want to tell you, oh, you get a piece of paper there. No. You are not Irish. Centuries, and very much so in my view, bloodlines of people that have been here for centuries are Irish. This notion of walking into the country and going, I wouldn't dare dream of walking into another country and telling them, yeah, I'm Nigerian, lads. Yeah, no, I'm Chinese, lads. Because I'll give you the kicker here, because I might as well use their own logic against them. Joe Biden is out there and he keeps telling people he's Irish. I'm Irish. And most Americans that you'll know will do the same. I'm Irish Italian, I'm 1/6 German, I'm blah this, I'm blah that. And they'll go through their heritage of what they are, rather than say, I'm American. That's what Biden does. I'm Irish. No, are you not American? No, well, Dad came over here from such and such a place, Granddad, blah, blah, blah. All that sort of stuff. So this notion of we after just jumping off the plane and into this country is totally out there. It's wrong completely. This isn't a football club. You can't just decide to join and go, I'm part of the club now, and prospectively I might move on in a couple of years and just change where I am. Doesn't happen. Absolutely does not happen. And this has been conflated, and this is why it's been put on TV like this, is to give off this type of notion. And this is being used then by the media then to conflate problems then with what people look like. Because when you have people that come to the country with accents that tell you that they're Irish and then have bad attitudes on top of that and tell you that they're being discriminated against, even though they possess way more than the average person in the likes of iPhones, tablets, houses and that. And you're looking at them going, hang on here now, who's being discriminated against? What are you talking about? And not only that then, if you are being discriminated against in this country, and this country is so terrible, how come more of you keep coming over? So that tells me one of two things. You're either one, stupid, or two, you're telling lies there and there's actually no problems. But then this is very revealing as this video goes on. But this we business, we are mixed. No, here, hang on here for a second. Everyone's looking around and going, no, that's not how it goes here, buddy.
Ireland is unique now. We're mixed. Because I can imagine in 10 years' time, there's going to be Barack Obamas walking around, Beyonce's and different sorts.
Noticed as well, by the way, that he decided to highlight two black people there. Isn't that interesting?
Different sorts. Mixture of people. So the whites are going extinct here now. So we're taking over.
Very funny, lads. Yeah, very funny. But the Overton window is shifting now, and people are looking and seeing images and footage like this and saying to themselves, all right, yeah, even these people here are acknowledging it. And even though you'll get people out there go, well, they're just making a joke and a laugh out of it, walk into O'Connell Street that I've just talked about there and have a look around. Stand there for 15, 20 minutes, have a look around and hear how many voices and accents you hear there. And hear how many of them are actually Irish. Very few. So that's one video. But it leads me right into this one here that came out during the week. And this one, he dropped an absolute clanger here because people like this individual that have no respect for Ireland nor the Irish people decided it would be funny to get clicks, likes and views on this video here whilst he was degrading a homeless man here in this country. Now, if the shoe was on the other foot, how do you think that this would be perceived? Remember as well all the uproar that was happening there with politicians when they were saying, oh guys, you aren't very sympathetic towards George. Absolutely, we weren't sympathetic towards George. The same way we wouldn't be sympathetic to anybody else that decided to attack people like that. If you're in a situation like that, you're absolutely right to be defending yourself and defending your colleagues, in my opinion. Then you see this video. And this video gained serious traction across people. And these are the type of videos, again, you see Donald across America that uses footage like this to promote and show people, look what's going on. Look what's happening. And a fella there that's on the TV with Hector that's been promoted by him and that's been promoted across other places. Even Grips Media not too long ago had Fabio on. And I would raise a question mark around that also. Because why are they having a guy like that on that isn't anyone? But then puts this up and lights an absolute firework underneath people to realise, what's going on here? Look what's happening.
Hey, come here, right? How many push-ups can you do?
Now, I was always spoken to when I was a child, and my mother and father both instilled in me that pointing at people was rude. And the way he's pointing down at this guy as well too, you know, it's subliminal little things like that. Again, I'm not a behavioural expert, I'm not a body language expert, anything like that, but to be pointing at someone like that and pointing down at them, well, it's also down on their look. It's not fantastic, is it? This is the new Barack Obama and Beyonce. You know?
Hey, come here, right? How many push-ups can you do? I'm going to give you a Europe of push-ups. Let's go. A Europe of push-ups. Let's go. A Europe of push-ups. Here we go. A Europe of push-ups. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. 5. Come on. 6.
Just to put into context here, this is a homeless guy. So this is a guy that either hasn't got a place to stay or doesn't have food. Just one of both of those things are perhaps something that are happening in this guy's life. And this fella is making him do push-ups. for his own amusement and entertainment and likes, because the dopamine hit that this guy thought he was going to get by publishing this went completely the other way, and he got slated in the comments. And I think, from what I understand, took it down. But what's not going to be forgotten are two instances of that, which is telling people they're going to be replaced, which is a very big narrative that's now so much so gotten ahead of steam that Fox are even talking about it. Tucker Carlson is talking about it, forced to talk about it because other people in the space that are huge now have forced that out into the open to say, look what's going on here. And it's happening now here in our own country. Now, I'll be honest with you when I say this. If a child of mine came home and they showed me a video like this of them doing it, I'm not even going to state how angry I would be and how disappointed and how sorrowful I would feel for this individual here in the video that's been made to do this. It's absolutely unbelievable. But lets you in on the way this guy thinks and lets you in on the type of ways that these people are being just left run amok, because what's also very startling and staggering, because of lack of breeding and lack of bringing people up. If I walked past this, as I know many people here in the chat would also agree with me, and they saw this, I'd stop it. I'd make sure something was said. I would make sure as well too that I told them what I thought of him, the whole lot, the whole 9 yards. But wait till you see the people that walk past and have a bit of a laugh and just scuttle on by as if nothing's going on. NPCs, man.
4, come on. 5, come on. 6, 7, come on. 8, come on. 9, come on. 10, come on. 11.
This dipstick that's here, by the way, is wearing a mask out in the open. I just wanted to point that out there. So this person that doesn't want to be seen on video, as you will see just right here, just as an aside, I just like to do these things here. This person's wearing a mask here and then puts her hand up to her face to hide herself going past. Isn't that incredible? Look. Anyway, get back to this.
9, come on. 10, come on. 11, what? 12, what? Come on. 13, come on. 14, come on. 15, come on. 16, come on.
Lols. Look at this fella being made to do push-ups.
17, what? 18, 19, 20. Oh my God. This guy's a legend. Make some noise. Legend, bro. Come on, here you go, man. You're a legend, man. Here you go. You have to win yourself in Europe, bro. Okay, legend, bro. Legend, man.
Unbelievable stuff, isn't it? Absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, we'll keep moving on. Now, this is another banger as well too, because we might as well close out with some absolute clangers here from some individuals. Doug Brignall says, I have enough confidence in the Voldemort based on my research to get it done. Those of you who think the Voldemort takes people out can use me as a test. If I pass, you are right. If I don't and have no ill effect, you were wrong and should admit it, at least to yourselves. Better yet, you should admit that you were misled and tell the world who misled you so other people can benefit by avoiding those fearmongers. What? Done. And again, that's another individual that has decided to post what they have posted. And all credit to this guy for posting that ahead of time, says that people had receipts to go, look at this. So very similar to the Canadian actress. Here we go with this one also. Absolutely unbelievable. Bodybuilder and fitness author Doug Brignall has passed away at 63 years old. That wasn't long. That didn't take long. Sure it didn't. So that was April 4th, 2021. And then he posted other pictures of him with the stuff in his arm as well too. And, there's the dopamine hit there, guys. And look at the likes that I'm getting on that. And now I'm talking nonsense. So interesting stuff, guys, to say the very least. We'll also have a look at this here. James O'Toole says, just got eviction notice after 13 years, over 120,000 euro paid in rent. Landlords called the shots. 120,000 would, years ago, bought you probably about 4 houses, maybe even more over. 120,000 in rent. At least we've got a few months to prepare because we here long. Nothing to rent in Dublin 8 under 1,600 a month. But have to leave my area I'm from. Good to see the anger at those three parties, but do you think Sinn Féin are going to change it? Absolutely not. They're all for it. They're all for this type of stuff as well. So when you want to blame one party, two parties, three parties, all of them across the dot, every single one of them. But that is a scandalous amount of money, isn't it, to be spending on rent and dead money gone. So that's why I'll always advocate, and it's something that my parents definitely instilled in me, was to purchase my own home. And it's something that they have absolutely 100%. When they have said that through the years, I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. They were right. And this is why they were right. Because the landlords do call the shots, which people have been talking about for a very long time. And this fella has spent 120,000 and it's gone nowhere. Nothing to show for it. Just gone out, bang, done. This one here as well too. Reno says Minister for Foreign Affairs Sam McCovney has said Ireland will participate in the European Union's training mission for the Ukrainian armed forces, which is expected to get underway in mid-November. Now, I've talked to a couple of people that have decided to get involved in the fracas, we'll say, across over there. I always ask them, why? Why would you get involved in that? Because you're setting up for Ireland to introduce this type of draft nonsense. And here's the thing, guys. You'll see feminism leave the bodies of women real quick, when they're telling them that they're going to be introduced in a draft. They'd be like, no, not interested. The lads can go. So that'd be the first thing. The second thing is as well, too, I think the United States government recently, was it them or was it someone else that published? Anyway, some government, I would speculate and say it was the United States one, published and said that if you were born a man, you can still be drafted. So you've got that equality, guys. You've gotten your rights. You are now equal because you can be drafted in. Anyway, it's my opinion that if you're being told to go and fight in skirmishes for people that have little care and total disdain for you, the answer to that is no thanks, would be my one all of the time. So I'll go through a couple of little laws here, guys. How to interact with someone who still wears a face mask. It's so true. Absolutely true. I like that, man. Luke O'Neill here says another study showing the Voldemort stops transmission of this. Now, this is published November 9th, 2021. So again, this fella's still been wheeled out, and he was saying this back then. Now they're all saying, it doesn't, totally doesn't. See? Voldemort effectiveness against this transmission. Effectiveness of full Voldemort against transmission to un-Voldemort household contacts with 63%. Results indicate that Voldemort confers protection against armor transmission. We have the receipts. This is why it's important to keep receipts when it comes to these people, because these people posted this and they think they're going to slink away. They think they're going to tell you, no, it is not me who told the lies. It was you who made the lies up in your own head. So when the tribunals start, which they eventually will, when the trials for crimes against humanity start, and they will, oh by God, they will. It is going to be fascinating to watch. And we will say this also because there's some people out there that would say the trials against humanity or for crimes against humanity won't start. Here's my thing and here's my window. It might not be on this plane of existence that you'll be judged, but God will certainly judge you. Remember that. So we will crack on and we'll have a look at a couple of other bits here because this was highlighted by Paddy Cosgrave. I thought this was fascinating. Fianna Fáil posted this out. When Fianna Fáil speaks of an Ireland for all, I feel deeply included in that. Isabel Oliveira. Now, what's going on here and what has been happening for the last number of years is you are seeing people be brought in, and it was recently, I think, highlighted by Gemma when she said that there was an individual outside the door that was causing a bit of ruckus, and she was like, that's a plant. And then a couple of weeks later, the same dude was at a protest where all of the list. So very easily used, and again, very astutely noticed by Gemma. So you've got this here, Isabel Oliveira, recruitment manager. I'm a member of Fianna Fáil. Now, Paddy Cosgrave was saying, are they employing actors? It's very weird to see someone double jobbing here. Now, it's not to say that people don't switch party. It is possible. But here's one here from Councillor Maurice Dockrell. With small business owner Isabel at the Fine Gael Small Business Conference, working constructively with small business. Much better use of time than chanting slogans and protesting but doing nothing. That looks to me to be the same woman, guys. I don't know about you, but that's Fine Gael and that's Fianna Fáil. So this is a tactic that has been used in America, and they have utilized people And it's very clear to see, and as I said before as well with the likes of actors, the acting profession was very silent for the last 2 years. It would suggest to me, speculatively, allegedly, that maybe they were used in certain circumstances. And now what's happening with the influx of people into the country, they can do things like that where they go, you just go over there and chill for them and then chill for them because nobody knows you. See? Very easy. It's not news nor scandalous that this trial didn't test transmission. It is, though. And this is coming from a place called factcheck.org. Stop the clown world. It knows no bounds. It doesn't, guys. Kinahan cartel lieutenant bought house with 8-year-old son's checkbook. Media can't seem to find out, though, that the stuff that has been promoted for the last year or so is absolute junk, doesn't work, and doesn't help to stop transmission. Isn't that interesting? Seem to know everything about the Kinahans. And again, as I keep saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And these guys must possess something that is seriously, speculatively, allegedly incriminating to some very high-powered people. Because why else would they be running around and writing articles about these people? And I'm also going to speculate about this. It's something I talked about not too long ago. And said with the numerous amount of articles that are put up, the gossip articles, like the Cristiano Ronaldo one. Cristiano Ronaldo is very unhappy at Manchester United. He wants to leave. No, he doesn't. He's been paid a whopper salary at Manchester United. He's the face of Manchester United. His short sell the most, so the club are happy with him. He didn't want to go nowhere. That was to distract from the fact that he didn't take the Voldemort. In my belief, that's my personal belief. That's what they did for an entire summer. Told lies about Ronaldo. Do you not think that they're doing it when it comes to these guys and setting them up and again, speculatively, allegedly, pitting them against each other, speculatively, allegedly, with certain articles? Because if you've got a fella that's over there called John, and in the paper they're telling you, hey John, you want to hear what Dave's had to say about you? Dave's had to been grassing out to you. And he's going, hey, what's Dave saying? And Dave's going, I never said anything. Well, Dave's now in the frame because the media is out there putting Dave in the frame. You know what I mean? Speculatively, allegedly. So this is what these people are doing. And I'm sure at this point in time, a lot of these people are sitting down and talking to each other because now, surely, they're becoming more wild to the situation and going, hang on here, we seem to be being played off each other the same way that the media uses footballers, football teams, agents to be putting out things. Same way that they use now at the moment with the government floating out this type of nonsense. Oh, a government leak said, that leak was on purpose, though. It was there to make you feel like you're in on confidential stuff, which is not that confidential because it's ludicrous stuff that any person with common sense would say, no, that's not a good idea. That they try to fly out there and make you buy into them then through emotion. So again, same thing. Can find out that someone used an 8-year-old's checkbook, but can't seem to figure out the data from the last couple of years. Strange, isn't it? Government will do everything to avoid refugees on streets. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has said the government will do everything we possibly can to avoid and to prevent Ukrainian refugees sleeping in the streets. No care nor thought for the Irish people, though. Workplace watchdog orders GRA to appoint twice failed female candidate for senior role to position. Oh, stop. Imagine being in there now at the moment. I have to be honest with you. I've been hearing murmurs from much bigger people that are out there that have been saying the Gardaí are getting prepared to talk. And what I mean by that is there's some people that are out there that are like, listen, inside scoop here, there's one or two big ones that are like, listen, there's a couple of people that are anonymously reporting about what's going on and the clown world that it showed that is happening in the Gardaí. And I have to be honest, I am salivating at the thought of someone coming out and being like, all right, lads, here's the truth. I cannot wait for that to happen. Now, to me, the fact that it hasn't happened so far, it's disappointing. It's disappointing for sure, but I would love to know that if there's any base patriots in on Garda Síochána, that they're going to start stepping forward and start talking about what's going on, because that's why I hold so much, I suppose, liking towards, and indeed, he impresses me from satirical soldier's point of view. That was a guy that was in the Defence Forces that didn't believe in what was going on, spoke about it, and then said, right, I'm out here, and now I'm going to full on speak about it. And it's very impressive, and it's something that's very much so appreciated, because that's a guy that's in a very serious job that people do take seriously and do hold credibly. And he's coming out being like, this is bang out of order here. And a lot of people do see that and they go, yeah, that makes sense there. And that guy's speaking about it. So when is it going to come to the point in time where someone, maybe even a retired member of Garda Síochána, is coming out and going, okay, lads, here's the 411 here on what's going on. It's ludicrous here. Like, how can you stand behind that? This is what I was talking about earlier on. YouTube and Facebook letting Brazil election disinformation spread. NGO says, any time you see something like this, the opposite is in effect. So what the NGO did was they posted false, misleading advertisements with relation to the Brazil election. Now, in my opinion, that's for a reason. There's always methods and motive to these things. And then what they did was they said, okay, guys, you approved so many of these that's not good enough. More censorship. You see, it's a problem, a reaction. This is the reaction, by the way, and then the solution. The solution is always take more freedom and rights and free speech away from people. Every single time. And that's what they are doing here. Now, you've seen meddling happen in this Brazilian election, and not too recently did I look into Jair Bolsonaro, beloved amongst the Brazilian people, aside from some of the woke lefties that have made their way across here because they were obviously discouraged at the country being run by someone that was actually a nationalist that said what he thought and is more so of an older stock that actually tells the truth and didn't buy in to the renamed flu or anything like that. Someone that was very much so needed across in the Western world, more so Viktor Orban was that person, but they did try to show him down on a number of occasions. But with Bolsonaro, he's even tweeting back at the likes of Hollywood celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo who are talking nonsense. And more people across the world are going, you were telling us that this Bolsonaro fella's a baddie, but actually more times that we look at him and what he says and what he does, he's bang on. You know what I mean? So this is on an attempt to mess about now with the Brazilian election, in my opinion, speculatively allegedly. We drove through Liffey Valley's new paid parking system. Here's how it works. Absolute shills, man. Absolute shills. How can you get up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror after posting stuff like this? People that are working at that centre have been told that they have to pay for the parking so they can go to work. Scandalous. If you were a real media outlet, what you would be doing is you would be telling people how scandalous that is instead of sucking up and going, great idea, guys. Where is your honour? Where is your integrity? Gutless. Cowardly. Now we'll get into a couple of memes to wrap her up here, guys. And these are interesting now. There's one here that's a post that we'll go through, and I think that's probably the one to end it on. You have to be more inclusive. Talk to your child about LGBT issues. Chad says, okay. Then they go, no. Son, this is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Never follow their footsteps. Okay, Dad. It's brilliant because it's so accurate. We never said that the Voldemort prevented transmission. You did. There's Luke O'Neill down below that's saying that. And this is exactly what's happening here now. You're seeing it in real time, and the memes are coming out in real time, and these people don't like it. Here's the thing, guys, right? When you're talking about memes have effectively defeated a multi-billion, even trillion-dollar exercise psyop that was put on the population of the world for the last couple of years. Do you understand the amount of planning, timing, coordination that took? And people like this Gonzo production and other productions that are out there defeated. Now, I'm not taking credit for any sort of defeat of this regime and defeat of what they're going on here. And when I say defeat, some people say, but the inflation still going up. Yeah, it is, but they've been made to shift the narrative 4 times they have within 6 months. That's not been done before, and they're running out of runway. They're running out of roads to go on. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I'm looking at the UK, and I'm like, holy moly, Prime Minister's in there a month and a half, and she's already gone. Like, the UK is at a tipping point, I believe, now at the moment. And the reason why they brought the likes of the Premier League back was to pacify people. And it's why sports was brought back real quick. Oh, guys, you can't go out of your home, but these elite athletes, they can compete. What? They can compete. Because it was to pacify it. That's what the Romans did in ancient Rome. They set up the gladiatorial games they did to keep people distracted from the stocks, supplies, and grain running out. That's what they did. It's the same play again. Put the sports on for the plebs, and they won't notice what's going on. The exact same thing. But more and more people have gone, yeah, I'm tuning out, I'm not interested. And now they're starting to get interested. Their football now is what's going on here in the political world. And there's been so much of a shift. They're like, let's stop this, guys. How I sleep knowing all of my enemies are Voldemort followers. Very comfy. this is the story. I'm going to do a video on this one as well because this one is interesting. I always find these stories to be interesting, of course, because, again, this group vehemently support these guys over here, but they don't get on. Feyenoord captain Orkun Koku has decided not to wear the rainbow armband for his side's Eredivisie match against AZ Alkmaar on Sunday afternoon. This is the beginning of it, by the way, because you've seen a couple of footballers and rugby players across the world now. Even there was a, what were they called, new men or something like that in Australia. They were like 7 of their players initially were like, we're not doing it, and then it got that out of hands that I think it got to like 15 fellas were like, we're not playing now, and they had to then kind of bring it back because they were like, oh no. So to me, this is very much so the beginning of it and the beginning of people turning on it and against it. I seen the bending of the knee there. I think it was last week in the Premier League. I was like, oh my God. Can't believe they're at this. But they did say that they're going to be doing it for important matches, but none of them were any guts between them to go, I'm not kneeling for this, I should say. I'm not kneeling for this anymore because it's been proven to be a total scam. So anyway, you're seeing more of this, but see, because he doesn't fit the demographic or the role that these guys want to play with these type of people, they want to talk about. This isn't going to be widespread outrage or anything like that, but more and more people are sharing this opinion here. The Turkey international explained the issue. I have decided not to wear the rainbow captain's armband this round. I think it's important to emphasize that I respect everyone regardless of religion, background, or preference. I believe that everyone is free to do what they want or feel, and that's the key thing. And as I keep saying, once you're a consenting legal age adult, I don't care what you are doing. I do not care. But I do not think that the population of the world should be bending to the will of less than 4% in terms of having to wear things and having to forcefully do things. Again, I'm consistent across that. If you want to do what you want to do and you're over there, happy days. You do what you're doing there. But I do not want to be forced to be wearing stuff. I do not want to be forced to acknowledge nonsense, which is currently what's happening to Enoch Burke, being forced to acknowledge nonsense. No clergy or anything speaking out about that either. And this is where it's now going to start. And it's important that guys like this guy do take a stand and say, I'm not wearing it. And ultimately, as he's saying there, he's going, everyone's free to do what they want or feel. And he doesn't feel that he wants to wear this. And he's right to do so. And I would love to see more do this. I fully understand the importance of this action. But because of my religious beliefs, I don't feel the right person supports this. That's why I don't feel comfortable wearing this captain's armband. I can imagine some people are disappointed with this. That is not my intention. Although I realise that I may not immediately be able to take away that feeling with these words, but I hope that my choice for religious reasons will also be respected. You see, respect only goes one way when it comes to these things, and it's not being afforded to this guy. Now, in my view, it's been afforded to him because he fits the certain demographic that these people like, and they probably would say nothing about it. But no widespread problem with that. But if you got, I don't know, Brad Pitt that came out and said the same, or I don't know, Harry Maguire, it'd be a different type of tactic that'd be taken against those guys, you know? Luke O'Neill, night owl's more at risk of heart disease and diabetes. This fella has been consistently and constantly wrong, yet he's still been wheeled out. Like, how is that possible? Disgrace, world's press react to Trump's resignation in the UK political turmoil. And as I said, in fairness to the Brits, they get them out quick. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the chat. That has been a good... And it's been very informative, I hope, for a lot of people that are out there. And again, I do want to kind of bring the times down. I was actually watching Soddy Cracker not too long ago, and I like the way that he keeps us at the 2 hour mark. I know he does 3 or 4 streams a week. I think he does 3 a week. That's just not possible here. But also, I'm going to try and pick out the most important things and talk about them. And obviously, as well, to have a laugh along the way. So let's have a look now. Sivna Eason says, hey, Ninja, aren't you too old for action figures? Absolutely not. No. Not at all. Eric Soldier says the base women in our class. ABS says, what's this channel about? It's a wild channel. Yeah, you'll get used to it if you're here for a while. Colin McDonough says, hello, people, first time on the chat. Good to see you here. Fernando Murky says, 2000, that's fantastic. Well done, Ninja. Thanks very much. Ninja Night, good evening, brother, says Colin McDonough. Good to see you. ABS says, freedom of speech channel comes up. Absolutely, 100%. Sivna Eaton says, hey, Ninja, want to talk about the song those ladies sang in Glasgow? Yeah, fair play to them. But also, the fact that they came out and apologised for it, not good. Ninja Night event on Saturday, 29th October in Newbridge, Kildare, outside the Apple Green at 2 p.m. So there you go, guys. Satirical Soldiers letting you know about that one. Event on Saturday, 29th of October in Newbridge, Kildare, outside the Apple Green at 2 p.m. So great to see that there. Wildside, it says Ninja. Nolan Murky says hello. ABS is Right King and Legend. People love Right King today on the chat. Amon says every Saturday in Palmerstown at 2:30 p.m. Let's wake up the capital. Support needed. Be great to see some Patriots there. Absolutely 100%. Sparky Malarkey says, have you any Iron Spears yet, Ninja? Not at all. Not at all. Won't be going that way now at all. I'm sure I'm an istaphobe myself after spending 2 years of my life as a Turkish soldier in Africa, keeping people safe, and in some cases under mortar and AK-47 fire. Isn't that mad, isn't it? It's like when someone says to me, oh my God, you're an istaphobe, I'm like, listen, I've action figures there of every race and both genders, you know, so I don't know what you're talking about here. No clue whatsoever what you're talking about. It's not possible, you know. Let's have a look through the chat now. Getting through this. Much quicker as well too when people are at Ninja Night. Very much so appreciate, guys. And Ninja Night says, I think the Dibbidaroo is just really just bad stuff, says Colin McDonough. Yep. Sean Mack says, I see another 3 young GAA players around Ireland passed away this week. Sudden adult passing syndrome, apparently. Link me on that one if you can, Sean Mack. That'd be great. And I'll have a look. Derek McManus says, FNT is Gary Nederotic's weekly YouTube show. Not as good as it used to be, but still worth a watch, says Derek McManus. I haven't watched Friday Night Lights in a while. I haven't. It's got some interesting people on it now and again. But my opinion is, anyway, it's only my opinion anyway, is that there's been some people that are on the stream and they don't really say anything and they don't really add to the conversation. And then you've got one woman that's apparently a comedian that's going on and doing the circuit on different streams. And I'm like, is she funny? Like, do people find her funny? And then you've got a couple of people that are like, no, she's totally funny. I'm like, okay, like what jokes has she made that are funny? And they're like, Anyway, Colin McDonald says, enjoy the speed of science. Ha ha ha. Speed of science. I mean, could you believe that these people are out there and they're going to make those type of comments? It's unreal. To me, like, if you're, hang on. Lena says ninjas from Berkman says Lena ninjas from Ireland. Let's keep going. But what was I saying there? Torn into Varka there, like, you know, there's every time. So, what was I talking about? I can't remember. Anyway, we'll keep going through the chat there. Billy the Kids is most advanced 1,000 people over the last 6 years. What's the worst thing Trump has done? And I never got once got a good answer. All I ever got back was waffle. Yeah, it's always like, he said mean things, and I'm like, okay, like what? And they go, yeah, you can't specifically say anything. Soldier, I can't read that out. Another gig. The crowd says 25 likes, 49 watching. Hit the like, guys. Hi, all. Just here for a quick stop. Have to back out. Hope everyone was well. Good to see it in here. I think there was 60 odd in here tonight now at one stage. It's good to see. Good to see people are out there and they're listening. Again, appreciate the of everybody that are joining in here on a Friday night. I mean, Friday night, like, I know it's a busy night for everybody, and I really have to say, like, it's unbelievable that every night, every Friday that I do this, there's people that are coming in and listen to this little Gonzo production. Thanks. Kevin McMahon says, Ninja, can you see the amount of dislikes because you get more likes than News Talk? I'm going to download that extension for sure, and I'm going to do that at one stage, yeah. But I would say that their dislikes outweigh their likes for sure. My like count are in and around 90% according to my analytics, which isn't bad. That's okay. But I'd say that theirs is way lower. I'd say their ratio is way lower. And like I said before, 50,000 subscribers, averaging about 1,200 views. It's not great, you know. Blue Graham one says you should do stickers, Ninja. I would stick a few around the place. Stickers would be a good idea, actually, yeah. A lot of people do also message me and say, what about stuff? I'm working on merchandise as well, too. A couple of people are asking about that. And I think it's a good thing to see. And a couple of different things, I've thought about a couple of different things for merchandise and stuff like that. And I'm going to have to get on to the likes of Teespring. I have a Teespring link anyway in the description below. But give me feedback and let me know what you think about it, guys. Like, that's what I want to know. I want to know what you think about it or what you would like to see on it, I suppose. And Dyson says, Ninja Knight, do you have any objection to me printing stickers and posting advertising your channel? Speculatively, allegedly, no. I think he said it because what if they tried to say, "Oh, I was the face in the place" or something like that? You know what I mean? I'm really, really very much so aware of that sort of stuff. Daniel Godson says, "I love you all." For God's sake, good Andy, great Andy. Daniel Godson's one of the OGs on this channel, by the way. He's been here a long time. I think he's been here since nearly the start. Sean Max is fabulous anti-Irish and anti-white. He essentially said his intention is to remove white people in Ireland. That was funny as well. But I wonder if you did the same thing about where he's from. I wonder if you'd find it funny at all. Point Man says, Ninja Knight, my friend's brother had Black Paddy at his wedding. He was absolutely shy. Nobody laughed. It was an absolute disaster, but that's to be expected. Yeah. There you go. Have a look at the chat now. Let's keep on. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I'm in the chat there talking about him as well. It's good. It's good that these people do things like that because what it does is just strengthen their argument, and you go, see. And the left as well too, like, which is funny just to see the hypocrisy of it. They all just say nothing, and you go, here, look at this, and they go, oh my god, I can't believe it said that about him. He's telling a homeless man to do push-ups for money there instead of just giving him the 20 quid, which is what a normal person would do. If I seen someone that was down on their luck, I don't support charities. I'm going to be out there with you on that one. I don't give to charity or anything like that because you don't need to go into that too much because you all know my thoughts on many things. But I would rather give the money, something that was instilled in me by the outfit. You know, you see someone down on their luck, you give them a couple of quid, and if they're sitting there, that's grand. And you know yourself when you're looking at them as well, particularly our own as well. And some people have terrible afflictions, and some people have terrible demons, and that's what gets them through the day, you know, and that's that. Not to Ninja, can you check out my Gab 2 seconds on the live? Share the mad article. Cheers. Good to see you in the chat. Just have a look at that now. Hang on. This is what you get with this live show, by the way, guys. You get this little Gonzo production looking at different things as it happens. Every Friday, by the way, that I usually come on, there's usually a massive story. And I usually have it set up, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And next while something breaks, and I'm like, oh, I have to talk about that. Can't see anything there, Kevin. I don't know whether you sent it to me a message, did you? Hang on there for a sec. It's not in the message request or anything like that. Just having a look. Nothing there, Kevin. Anyway, if you get further on to me now at some stage, let's have a look. Ninja Knight, you were very kind, my friend, to Chatterbox about it. Not at all. Absolutely has to be said. 100%. The more people that get to see different things, the more ideas people get then as well about what's actually happening in the place. And different voices adds different opinions and thoughts, which I think is important. Different opinions and thoughts are very important. Ninja Knight says, Memory Warrior says, Ninja Knight, thanks and good night. Derek Man says 2 hours is a good time span for a stream. Much appreciated. Mike Mahan says, I'm going on Dragon's Den next week. I've just invented a Halamia one. Yeah, the bugs that they're coming out with, it's absolutely hilarious, isn't it? Eat the crickets. It's just as much protein. No, I won't eat the crickets. You're welcome to eat the crickets, but I won't be doing that. Percy Kashun says, Ninja Knight, great show. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Percy Kashun, Ninja Knight, speculatively, allegedly. I like that one. I do like that. Leon Curtis says, Ninja, Mitch, you doing accents? We tried them tonight. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Says Lord Tot. Good to see you in here. Blue Graham 1 says 20 push-ups for being a late sheepdog. Sheepdog's in here late as well. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. You know the such lads. Anyway, you can watch on the replay as you always do, so fair play. Derek Man says we demand an Ninja Knight action figure. Listen, I'd be off for that. But as I said before, definitely have a good comic book that I'm in the process of writing at the moment that I believe will be a very solid action figure line, as well as the comic book. But we'll talk about that eventually at some stage. Let's have a look now. Having a good laugh in the chat there. Mr. KF says never give up. Says Ninja's Gonzo production equals good. RCE MSM equals bad. Saints and Scholars says taxes at 967 NGOs. No need for charities here. Fully agree. Oliver 1014 says Japan for Japanese and Iraq for Iraqis, etc. No problem. So equally in Ireland for the Irish. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the thing. That's what I believe in. You know, France for the French, Spain for the Spanish, you know, China for the Chinese, Japan for the Japanese. You know, very consistent across the board there. Let's have a look at our top with the thumbs up there. Okay. Right, guys. So I'm going to leave the stream there. I'll be dropping a couple of videos, obviously, next week, and that's how we're going to go with it. The week after next, I'm going on 2 weeks holidays. So just to let you know, I'll say that at the next stream as well and let people know. I think I might be able to drop videos in those 2 weeks, but I'll keep you updated on that as far as it goes. Hopefully be able to drop a couple of videos in the meantime and for those weeks as well. But probably going to be no stream in 2 weeks' time. So not next week, but the week after and then the week after that. But I'll keep you all up to date as well. Make sure you're following me on Gab and Gettr as well. I'm on Facebook as well at Nin Night. I've got the Facebook group as well, Official Ninja Night, if you're following over there. I know not an awful lot of people use Facebook anymore, but what I would love to see is, and what I keep seeing, is more of a migration across the Gab. And Gab is real important, I believe, because there's nothing these people can do to touch it on Gab. Parler's going to be an interesting one as well too, because Kanye West has just purchased it or is in the talks to purchase it at the moment. I hope he does, and I hope that's going to be another one. But I think what's interesting to see is, and again, blows the narrative away from people, when you support Kanye West the way I am and saying, yeah, I think he's fully right and he's talking about freedom of speech, 100% behind him, they straight away label him far right. They're like, oh, this fella's out, he's crazy. No, what he's saying is very rational and he's someone that knows about what's going on, you know? So to me, I would fully support Kanye West. And if he's going to buy Parler, that'd be another place to pitch the tent, is what I'd say. So Parler, Gettr, Gab. Gab to me is the best of them of all. And I think when people with money get involved in situations, a lot of people are very apprehensive of it, and you're right to be. You're absolutely right to be. Whereas with Gab, I think personally, again, I've no affiliation, nor do I have anything to do with Gab. I just like it an awful lot, and I think it's a very solid alternative that I would love to see more and more people join, because I think that's the place to go. So we just close the show out there with a couple of people in the chat saying, have a good one. All right, let's have a look there. We've got Ninja, can you make also a bobble action figure for me car? It says Kevin McMahon. Mr. KF says, never give up. Fair play, Ninja. All the best, everyone. Lord Todd says, have a great and safe holidays. Thanks very much. ABS says, thanks for having me. God bless you all. Fernando Murkus is a very good Ninja. Thanks, Scott. Is great lad. Happy Halloween. Have a good one. Smurf says, night all. Conor McDonald says, good night all, Patriots. Ihawa says, Borova. I'm on a 40-day Facebook ban myself, to be honest, says Derek McManus. Get on Gab, dude. Honestly, much better. Alan Dyson says, good night, brothers and sisters. Trust no man for the truth. Read the Bible and give yourself to Jesus before it's too late. May God bless us all reading this. Absolutely. Praise to Jesus and to God. Leanne Corder says, thanks, Ninja, and I'll hear on the chat and on the playback. Much love to you all. Ihawa, Agus a Kula Sav. God bless. Keep your vibrations high. Well, folks, thanks for on a great stream. You're amazing. Sparky Malark says, Ninja, you need to watch Hugo Talks. Night. Derek says, Leanne Cordes. Fernando Murkic says, up Wales. I'm painting Halloween lantern for the kids. Yay, kittens. Absolutely unreal. Great to see you guys. Have a good weekend. All right. Look after yourselves. Take care. God bless.